Thank you, gentlemen. We have a full panel, though I think our audience is feeling a bit shy. But I'm happy to note that we have a very strong panel of press, and what we're going to talk is going to reach out much beyond the four walls of this room. And that's a saving grace. So, a lot has been talked about the way the lighting business has transformed, is transforming. There's even talk of why our laws are not changing fast enough. I think the reason is that LED technology has moved so fast. It has really surprised governments and also the industry itself. That's the reason there's a lag between the laws and what's needed. So why 2020, why not 2015? Those answers, I think, in the end, the underlying message is that the technology is moving much faster than we are able to respond. So we are seeing a very interesting situation. At one end of the spectrum is utter confusion. In the sense, the consumer is not really fully aware what he can do with lighting, what kind of lighting he should be using. Nor is a major part of the industry, at least the SME sector, able to explain to the consumer how to use lighting, how to consume lighting, what can be done with the entire lighting system. That's one. The other end is the highly technical and the highly competent end, I would say, of the spectrum, the people who are really driving this change. So we are poised, ideally, between these two ends at this panel discussion to bring out an understanding of the way business is being done, should be done today with respect to lighting. So my first question to the panelists would be, how to increase understanding of the formation of the critical components that go into lighting. In other sense, vendor partnerships. How are these partnerships developing, and how should lighting companies participate in such partnerships, foster such partnerships to increase their business? Here I'd like to invite David from Brislux to respond. And if possible, use some experiences from US, from within your field of work.
Okay. Can you hear me? Is that working? Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think the challenge that we see in general is the consumer does not care about the core technology of lighting at all. It's not something that, in the US at least, or in the other regions that I work in, our end customers, meaning our customers' customers, have found valuable in terms of the story and the narrative of lighting. So Richlux, who's really a core technology company or a component company, focused on the foundational elements of LED light, going all the way back to chip formulation. How do we stay relevant to those end customers? I think the second problem that we have is there's an incredible number of specifications or potential specifications or potential requirements for lighting, and they vary by taste, they vary by person, they vary by segment, they vary by region. So what a consumer in India likes is very different from what a consumer in the US likes. Classic example is in India, consumers like these very cool color lights. They like 6,500 degrees Kelvin. We see that in no other region of the world. So in the typical consumer or residential customer worldwide likes more of a 3,000 Kelvin color temperature, or even 2,700 Kelvin. So managing that complexity, I think, is a big challenge that we have to face. The way that Bridgelux has chosen to do that is through creating partnerships with other large entities and other kind of very innovative entities worldwide that are like-minded as Bridgelux. So they innovate in similar ways to us, they think about customers in similar ways to us, and they market in similar ways to us. So finding alignment, kind of mind share among other companies in the supply chain, particularly our customers that think like us, and then ecosystem partners that think like us, that can just preach kind of a similar message, I think, to the market through their marketing materials is really, really critical. And then as we think about how we innovate the technology, as we go from where we're at today in terms of efficacy, performance, color tuning, controls, things like that, there's a myriad of different directions that we can go as we innovate. A lot of different things that we could potentially invest in and different pieces of value that we could potentially bring to market. Innovating with partners, innovating with the supply chain in similar directions is really, really critical in addition to just the marketing piece.
Taking on from here, if I were to ask Mr. Vesh, since you are a leading player in the street lighting segment, how do you think this kind of a partnership with the component player is helping you in your business?
Components are not manufactured in India. So we have to depend on imports, and therefore there is a partnership as far as the manufacturer of components is concerned and our product designs are concerned. As we go for the Made in India policy which the government is enunciating, we have to see which sector can do what work and try to create partnerships within the country to be able to supply the products. And the strengths of each sector, whether it's small, whether it's medium, whether it's large, they need to be used to see what they can produce. And that is where the whole effort should go.
But do you think there's a challenge in partnering with large corporates? Component players are much larger than the lighting suppliers themselves. Possibly they are addressing many more industries than simply lighting.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they have to sell their product. And so there is a need for them to partner with us. Only thing is that how quickly we can get them to bring component prices to a level which gives us a level playing field. And that's where organizations like Alcoma, there are other industry associations which can create partnerships within equals to help them get components at a lower price and to be able to partner with the larger sector.
Mike, your company Fulham has been manufacturing in India for a while, and you are an interesting example of an American corporate having invested in the country. So, in a sense, you bring in international experiences and are able to meet the requirements of Indian manufacturers, as Mr. Vesh is referring.
Right.
So what is your experience? What has your experience been in forging partnerships with Indian lighting companies?
So I think from our perspective, there's a couple of things that is driving the adoption curve of LED so rapidly in the last several years. Because you look back just where it was, 24, 36 months ago, it was still hesitation. It's just exploded in the last few years. And what's driving that is that price parity. You've seen a concentrated effort from the technology companies such as ourselves, Bridgelux, to address very challenging technical questions to make these components, at a lower cost and driving higher efficacy, so we can get the paybacks required to, justify the application of moving from a traditional light source to LED. And that price parity, as we heard in the conversations earlier today, is really the mandate that the government's looking for here. So we look at it as our mission is to bring advanced, innovative technologies, that we, from a global perspective, so we've got operations in China, we've got operations in North America, and it's helped us really bring that technology to India and with a world-class manufacturing facility and prove that we can build products here at a low cost, provide the lighting OEMs with components they know they're going to get the reliability they need for kind of the harsher environments that we see here. So those types of experiences that we gather as we do business around the world is really helping us drive how we're going to grow our business here, which we're really excited about investing more in as we move forward.
So would you say that your operations are sufficiently Indianized, have been Indianized to meet these challenges?
It's a process, and I'd say that we're learning that as a business. There's certainly a lot of differences in the market dynamics and just the environment that these fixtures have to operate in. But yes, from a cultural and communication and technology transfer standpoint, I think we're getting there. I think there's always more to be done, but I think our facilities and our people, we're trying to bring in really talented people that can bring the best in lighting to India.
Mr. Hino, what is your perspective on this? Since you have a lot of experience at the global level, and then you are now helping your company Panasonic expand its presence in India in the lighting sector. How do you think that partnerships with component players are going to impact your business in India?
Yes, Panasonic is manufacturing LED lighting fixture and LED bulbs and such kind of LED lamps. And we are manufacturing not only the fixture, but also the drivers also. And now about the partnership, for example, LED packages. Now we are purchasing from the big the company which has the basic patent of the LEDs. Now we maybe 2 or 3 years later, the basic patent will be expired, so that we can purchase the very reasonable but high quality and capability of the productivity. So we will have some partnership with such kind of LED package companies. So if we can purchase such kind of reasonable LED packages, that means our LED fixtures will be reasonable, and we can provide to the consumers market, especially India.
So but wouldn't waiting for the patent to expire also mean that the technology is outdated already? Particularly so because in LEDs, the speed at which things are changing is much faster.
Yes, much fast. But of course, we have to consider also the compliance matter about if we ignore the basic patent, the big LED package manufacturers will blame to us. So we are now considering about the basic patent.
So are there any such products that you plan to bring in where you are waiting for the patents to expire?
Yeah, the big company is, for example, Nichia, Kuri, and so on. But now China or Taiwan LED package manufacturer has a very high productivity. So after that, after basic patent is expired, we may use such kind of companies.
My next question, gentlemen, is about the lifetime of involvement that's not required in the lighting business. I mean, it's no longer about manufacture and sell and you are free from all your liabilities or responsibilities. It's more about providing a long-term service, long-term warranty. Mr. Vash, the street lighting business particularly, where maintenance and warranties, extended warranties are part of the bidding process. How do you see the responsibility of the lighting manufacturer changing now, particularly when ESCO models or the service models are becoming more applicable, more relevant?
Yeah, we have to design our products better. We have learned from the experiences. We have improved our product designs to cater to our market conditions. Only thing is that the component manufacturers, they have not kept pace with this requirement. And the government, when it says you are providing a 5-year or a 10-year warranty, then even the component manufacturers should be made liable for that much. And that is something, if it's not done, then the government should not stipulate the manufacturer of the component. If you say Cree, and Cree is not willing to give a 10-year warranty, then I may as well choose anyone, and if I have to give that. So these are two conflicting things which have to be sorted out when we are doing warranties. And otherwise, we have improved our designs to take care of the requirements.
David, would you like to take that up
Yeah,
on behalf of the chip?
Teed that one up really well. Bridgelux actually is the only company on the market today that has a 10-year warranty on its COB. So we announced that at Light & Building in Europe, I guess it was in March of this year. So we take that very seriously. I think we were the first company on the market to launch a 5-year warranty back, I guess it was about 4 years ago. And we've been the first company on the market, and still the only company on the market that offers a 10-year warranty. And a big part of that is because we know our products, particularly our higher lumen products, are going into street light, high bay, very hard to service and hard to maintain environments where robustness matters, and very tough environments as well. I think the other thing we look at other than warranty is just the battery of tests that we have to put our products through to get them to market in the first place. So LM80 is required in basically all regions, so we have to be very public about the reliability data, not just the slogans that we put behind our products, but the actual data on how they test. And then we have to pass battery tests, be it helping our customers get through UL, LM79, all these other things that we have to do. So there's a lot of regulation, I think, globally now on us, and we really factor that into the formulations of our products. We can't afford to have products that don't have good LM80 data on the market. We can't afford to have products that are failing because of their warranty.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So when you say 10-year warranty, does that mean the half-life of the chip is 10 years?
No, it's basically a 10-year warranty against catastrophic failure. So the majority of our products have an L70 of roughly 70,000 hours. So that means that for the outdoor space, our product is expected to perform basically at the same light levels for 70,000 hours. So there's not a degradation along the lines of what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it'll stay at the same level for 70,000 hours.
Exactly.
So, Mr. Hino, what is your experience here with respect to offering warranties for your complete products?
Yeah, we are providing the lighting fixture with the drivers, and now in Japan case, our warranty is just 1 year. But in the case of the project by project, we discuss with the customers, and they request us 5 years. We of course give us the 5-year warranty, but it is our risk. So we are strengthening our quality control.
So have you been involved already with any of the public sector projects where extended warranties have been demanded?
Yeah, especially in Japan case, there is a convenience store or shop, and they are requesting a very long warranty. Also, the street light, also the municipality is asking us the long term of the warranty. So, of course, we have to judge the business and the risk, and we answer them the long-term warranty.
Mike, in the case of Fulham, between what's happening in the US and now what's evolving in India, do you see any difference in the way warranties are being offered or demanded?
No, I think it's becoming pretty universal, and I think to your point that the lighting fixture OEM companies are really now looking for component suppliers that will, have that type of reliability testing, the specification and metrics to show and prove that they have the products that'll last to the lifetimes that they're stating in their claims. But what we've really seen is, as the things have evolved, that you have, the 5-year, now 7-year warranties are pretty much standard on most of our different product lines, moving toward those expanded warranties, and you see that just is becoming a requirement for a component supplier to be able to supply the tier 1, tier 2, large lighting companies. And the other thing that's happening in the industry is that the smaller OEMs, again, trying to drive to that low cost, high quality solution, and that's really where we see the industry shifting back. So it puts more onus on us if we're going to provide a full inside solution for that OEM, that companies can come to us and say, if I have a problem, you're going to be there 5 years, 7 years, 10 years from now, and we're going to stand behind it, and that's how we base our business, and we built that reputation of quality, and that's really how you got to approach it.
Gentlemen, my final question, which is common to all of you, and I request each of you to respond with your own experiences. There's a lot of talk in India about the dearth of skills in the lighting sector. The lighting sector is suffering because of the absence or very little availability of skilled manpower. People who are able to understand lighting, the way it's consumed, its impact, how things should be designed, manufactured, plant layouts, everything. So in your respective areas, could you just elaborate on what you think you can contribute or are planning to in the Indian context as far as skill development is concerned, or what you think you would like to see happen? May I request Mr. Vash to take the lead here, because you representing the SME might be the most effective.
Yeah, actually there is a complete lack of people trained into lighting. Very few institutions, and we have to, train them in-house. In every area we are training people in-house. There is a lot of talk of institutions coming up for skill development, but we have to still see it happen.
So what would you expect from your component partners in terms of skill development? Do you think they would play a role in your teams, the development of skills at your end?
Definitely. They should have played, but they have not played. So we have learned the hard way.
When life goes on, that could still be done. Which areas do you think need very specific inputs in terms of knowledge?
We have learned most of the things ourselves over the last 10 years. We have been struggling in the field, so we feel that we are capable of doing it ourselves.
I see. Mike?
Yeah, I think it's a universal problem. I think even in the United States that we have only a few colleges or universities that have any type of real lighting focused curriculum that they will teach. University of Colorado in Boulder is one of those, but it's very specialized. So most people coming into the industry get the education from the professionals within the industry, and we have a number of associations that are reaching out and doing things to educate young talent and young engineers coming in. Here in India, I think we do the same type of approach, and I think our goal is to find young talented engineers that want to learn about lighting as a science and the technology and how it does play such a vital role. You see, my perspective of hearing the conversations over the last couple of days is just an intense focus from the government down on LED transformation. We don't have that happening in the U.S. It's really being driven by the manufacturers in different areas. It's not as government driven, but I think everybody struggles with trying to teach young talent the lighting industry. I've been doing this 26 years, and you start out and learn application engineering and lighting design, then you understand, that there's so much potential within the technology to expand your career. But that's a challenge I think we all face, is trying to figure out how you get people to be excited about working in this industry.
About lighting in Japan, and we have a lot of manufacturer of the lighting fixture or lighting bulbs in Japan, and we have a lot of engineers, but most of them they did not learn about lighting in, for example, university age. Very limited person learned about the lighting. So, but after joining the company, and they learned the lighting a lot, and also we have the researcher about the lighting, how to use the light, or how to get the very good atmosphere from the lighting. So such kind of very long experience is we have, and using such experience, we should educate a lot of consumers and also a lot of users, architects, and discuss such kind of discussion. Also, we can increase the more knowledge.
David?
Yeah, I guess as a starting point, I'm not quite as pessimistic about India. Maybe as the moderator, I think I've met a lot of very, very capable engineers in India and very capable, particularly design people in India. I think the one observation I have is they're kind of concentrated at the larger companies, and maybe there's fewer smaller innovative companies like you have in other regions. So I travel to China very frequently, obviously the US, Europe, and there's a very steady number of companies that are in this kind of mid to low end in terms of size in the market. I think you don't quite have that in India to the same extent. Like the other guests here are saying, I think largely globally the way I see people getting trained in the lighting space is through industry experience, and particularly through industry experience at larger companies. And I think the way that you can increase the overall quantity of talented engineers in this industry, and I think the extension of that would be the overall quantity of innovative small and mid-sized companies, is the larger companies have to really train their employees well and take, I think, training of young talent seriously, number one. And number two, they have to take innovation very seriously. I think one thing I've noticed here is that a lot of the larger companies, while very, very talented, are not as ambitious about differentiation on technology as in other regions. And I think to the extent that the larger companies here continue to challenge themselves to innovate and to push the market here in a more technology-focused direction, it'll attract, I think, more capable people into those companies, more capable young people, and be able to train them. There'll be a trickle-down effect for these big and small-sized companies as well.
I would like to add one thing here. More than the more than the manufacturing process related to the lighting, there is a shortage of people who can do the design. As he mentioned, the innovation. The design engineers need to be more, and then the quality of the fittings, the manufacturing quality, mechanical part of it. That's where we need to do a lot more in India. Less of electronics, and that we are able to handle.
More of the materials and the product design.
Yes. That's an area where a lot more needs to be done.
Probably fixture design has not evolved so much at our end, where various materials, or at least the new materials which are relevant to LED technology, have not been explored.
One part is materials, the other part is even the manufacturing, the mechanical processes which are available are not as high end as you have elsewhere.
But isn't it a bit surprising, considering that most of the large lighting companies are also dependent upon small and medium enterprises as OEM suppliers? How is it that this aspect of engineering has not evolved?
Yeah, because it's being imported. The easy route is to import, and that is available. If you put a ban on that, say you have to make it in India, things will change.
But this, the PMA is, I think, one solution to that, where the preferential market access policy which forces Indian manufacturers to gradually increase the indigenous component. That might be a solution to that.
Yeah. It depends on how fast you push it.
Very true.
Well, that's it from me. Is there any question
Also,
from
if
the
government
audience?
involvement is there, government subsidies and government involvement is there, then a lot of small scale industries will crop up to do, there's a lot, if we have government support, the government support in China is tremendous. The government support here is not there. That's a major difference. And another difference is when small scale go to major people to bid their product, they always say, no, we'll go to the people who have already been established. So that boost for the smaller scale is not there. There's no support from corporations and from government. That's the difference.
Would you like to respond to that, Mr. Rash? Do you think?
Yeah, that is true. You know, that is true. That the level of support which is available for the small scale is very, very poor, and it's a very major limiting factor. And the small scale doesn't grow because of when the larger orders come, they go to the bigger players.
No, even for smaller orders,
Yeah.
there's an issue. And one more thing, I think you had mentioned that there's no support in the US. Maybe not at the college level, but the government level there is there. I mean, you do have a good tax rebate for people who change their house lighting or their business lighting into LEDs or better energy lighting. So there is a lot of support from the government on that product.
Yeah, typically it's been driven at the rebate utility level. At the rebates is what's going back to fund that. It's really not. There's some government subsidies at the federal level, but really not a lot. It's really more at the utility rebate level that these projects are getting back.
Funded.
Getting funded.
Yeah, but the
And
local
then-
energies like a Con Edison or somebody would be getting funded, who then will fund the individual person.
Correct. That's
Yes,
exactly
and that
right.
goes off as a tax rebate. None of those programs are over here.
Right.
I did bring that up at one point, but it was shot down a year ago.
Right.
So, I mean, if we bring up such programs in this country, a lot more change can happen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to do, even in our country, in the United States. They, the amount of emphasis from the federal level is not nearly, from what I've heard
Nearly as much
here.
as you-
And from what I'm hearing with what's going on in India, it's very exciting. So that is going to drive a lot more change and adoption here, probably faster than you'll see in
I
the
hope
U.S. And that's really positive, and that's why we have. We've invested here. We have facilities here. We feel that this is a very exciting place to be part of investing in for the future. But I agree with you. There's work to be done.
Yeah, I'd also say from my part, I think American consumers actually benefit more from Chinese government investment in Chinese corporations than American government investment in American
I would agree with
corporations.
that. I would agree with that.
Chinese
100%.
product ends up in the U.S., and I think that's, even for Bridgelux, we end up selling to Chinese customers. We then assemble their products and sell it to U.S. consumers, and there's no U.S. government involvement at all.
It's cheaper in the US than it is in China. The made in China product is cheaper in the US than it is in
Maybe,
China.
yeah.
Sir,
Yes,
what
sir.
I feel that we are talking about the LEDs and all that, but still in India we do not have any LED manufacturing. We are not manufacturing any wafers also till date. And how we are going, when we are going to manufacture our own LEDs? How we are going to indigenize our product?
Would you like to respond to that, Sujanji?
See, as you know, the chip is manufactured by very few companies who have patented them and they have the technology with them. India tried its best for last so many years to start manufacturing in India. We talked to the existing large manufacturers. Government of India wanted to give a lot of funding, support, everything. But the present capacity of production of chip is so large with the existing units which are manufacturing that they don't find any value addition in establishing another outfit or outlet in India. So therefore, we have also decided that chip cost works out to only 8 to 10% of the total cost of the end product. So we have to live with the situation, and we have decided that we will continue with importing chip, which is only about 8 to 10% of the cost of the total component.
Can I just add, sir? Just latest information that DIT has signed the agreement for 2 wafer manufacturing with the IBM and one more company.
JP Group. JP Group.
JP Group, yes. IBM and I think IBM and Applied Materials. They're going to bring some wafer technology for about 66,000 crores in investment. Time frame is not known, but I think what Mr. Sujan rightly said, the cost of the capacity globally is so high, and the cost of component is so low in the current context of the luminaire. I think it does make sense even if you're getting the global product at the best prices. I think that's the way I look at it.
I'd say as a member of the LED industry and a member of a company that pioneered that technology, I would not recommend getting into this technology at this point.
That's it.
Well, if there are no more questions, then I'd like to thank my panelists. Thank you for joining, and thank you for taking time and responding.